Fumbling through your pencil rack is what happens when you buy way too many utensils to draw with. When I start sketchbooking, sometimes I don't always have in mind what I want to draw. Oftentimes that is the case. I always like drawing birds and really crazy hair. So let's just draw the side of a face and then some birds. Make it easier. So let's do crows or ravens again. That's always a good default for me. There we go. Yeah, we got some good reference here. I used to buy tons of sketchbooks and they'd be all blank sketchbooks, but I went from that to, if I didn't have a sketchbook with me, I'd use the, which I'm sure we all do, the printing or copy paper, because it feels so nice. And so if I had to choose, I would probably prefer using printing paper over the sketchbooks that you'd find where the paper is ultra rough. And I know I like slightly rough paper for comic books. However, when it comes to sketchbooks, I prefer the smooth paper because I don't always color my pieces when I'm doing sketchbooks. Maybe watercolor paper works for sketchbooks as well. Don't do Copics on sketchbooks for the most part. Looks like cranes right now. We'll fix that. Let's just draw some happy little crows here. Some happy little crows there. There's no such thing as a happy crow, at least not in mythology or urban myth. I'd like to think that my ideas are groundbreaking. Every time I come up with something new, it's like no one's ever thought of this before. It's gonna be amazing. Maybe that's how we should think of things when we first come up with new ideas. Start with that first and then work backwards, because if you're not enthusiastic about doing something different and new, you might not start at all. So I'd like to think that all my ideas are special up until I work it through, and then maybe I'll change a few things. Bring it back down to earth or into space maybe. So I'm pretty much, this is how far I take it when I'm going to ink in a sketchbook. I don't bring it to a finish. Just getting in the basic shape so I can have more fun and invent while I'm inking the piece instead of having it set in stone and I'm just inking by numbers, if you want to call it that. I think I want one small bird right here. Make the so that the composition looks kind of balanced. Not sure what to do with this bird. Don't want him to be a standalone either. See if we could get an interesting wing formation for this part. So these birds all have one unified goal, and that is to get the peanut butter and jelly sandwich someone left on the beach. Well, okay, maybe not the beach. I often see seagulls and pigeons, but no crows. It's been a while since I've seen crows. See them all the time when I was living in Seattle, but not here in Hawaii. Okay. I tend to use the Pentel Pocket Brush for sketchbooks. It's very convenient, especially for travel when I'm not working on comic books. When I do comic books, it's generally the dipping inks and the fountain inks and the brushes and the nibs. I realize that things have been done and done over and over again, but it's always nice to put a spin on things from your own perspective and your own little world that you have and your own unique experiences. It's always going to inform your art and the way that you do things. So yes, there are plenty of things out there that we've seen before or heard before somewhere, and we've seen it multiple times, but I think it's important to not be afraid to try to do those things just because you've seen it before. Just put your own spin on it, because we do all have our own unique experiences to share with the world, and that we could always put into practice. And I think we're about done with this piece. God damn it. Why won't let me do what I want? 1.8. Sweet.